What is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned in to a very special edition of the HFWB podcast series. This is your host, Clifton Pope, and I'm going to be honest with y'all. This is the first podcast interview I've recorded in quite some time because I wanted to come back in a very special way. And I think we can't get any more special than this. This person who I'm about to bring on, this has literally been like over a year in the making, the person who I'm about to interview. It's like she's a public figure within her own right, number one. Number two, she's a fellow podcaster just like myself. If you haven't heard of, I don't know, the Local Influencers podcast, Pop Culture After Dark, and the very famous Bitches Who Brunch, you'll know who I'm talking about automatically off the top. Not to mention, she's a travel blogger, she's a fashionista herself, and when I say the word influencer, this person fits that mold to its T. And not to mention, she's also her own business owner as well. She actually owns her own cupcake business, which we'll actually get into that as well. If you haven't figured out who I'm talking about right now, please welcome the lovely Yvonne Ascension, aka Vonnie Smiles, to the HFWB podcast series. Vonnie, what is going on? You do realize this has been like over a year in the making, right?
I do, Clifton. Thank you so much. And thank you for that amazing introduction. You are the absolute sweetest. Thank you so much. Literally, I'm smiling ear to ear.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Just for everyone who is listening right now, this has been long overdue just because quick story time as far as how we met. We met through Facebook, and then when we met in person, we kind of had I would say the longest conversation, but it was a well-worthy conversation because a lot of information was being passed on. We had a nice little small dinner get together kind of at Jason's Deli. Then fast forward, you invited me and of course my girlfriend, her brother, and his girlfriend. We all got together at one of your favorite spots, which we'll get into how that happened in a second. It's ever since then, it's like you need to come on my podcast, vice versa. And then here we are. We are finally here. But enough about me rambling as far as the quick story time and stuff. For everyone who's listening to the HFWB podcast series and wants to know you as far as an overall person, how would you describe yourself, say, in 3 words?
Ooh, 3 words. That's a good question. Oh my God. I can't believe I have never been stuck before. Normally on my podcast, I'm the one that asks the questions to my guests and get them all tongue tied and stuff. And now it's back on me.
Yes.
Well, I would definitely say I am a entrepreneur and an entrepreneur, podcaster, and just I'm a boss.
I love it.
That's the first word that came to mind, but I didn't want to come off a little bossy.
No, that's absolutely fine because it shows that one, you have the confidence in yourself because you've been through certain experiences that no one else has been through, and now you have the opportunity to deliver that message and basically tell your story in a quote unquote bossy way. Speaking of that, describe kind of your overall journey as far as how you got into the position as you in as an entrepreneur, as a boss, and just all those things and above. I want to hear it all. Let the people know.
God, it was such a journey because 10 years ago, my life looked so different. So I have kids. I'm a mom. I have 8 kids, and
yes,
that was my life at the time. And through that, also, I worked with the Marine Corps and stuff. And now when I was there at MCAS Yuma, that's when I started my cupcake business. So being my own boss at that time. And I actually started the business by baking for my Marines.
Okay.
It started, and that's how it came to. And it went into this huge thing that ended up throughout the entire city of Yuma. I was voted top 3 best desserts in the entire city, and that included chain restaurants and everything else that. So that was like a big honor. But then when I moved back home and everything like kind of changed a little bit, and I got here and I started working with some different companies, working with H&R Block and everything. And then I've always been such a big promoter of local stuff. I've always loved Corpus Christi. This is my
Yes.
hometown. It's where I'm from. I want to see it thriving. All that. So a lot of it was I wanted to support Corpus, and I wanted to support the local businesses and local restaurants, local bars, just people trying to really make this place as beautiful as it can be. And then it went from not just that to wanting to inspire women that look like me.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with my weight, and stuff over the years and everything, and being plus size. And, sometimes there's like, when it comes to style and fashion and, all this stuff, like you're afraid to come out of your comfort zone to dress the ways that you see in magazines or, whatever. So I wanted to just really show women like, hey, you are beautiful at any size, first of all. Second of all, look at this, you can wear this. Like, so I started working with Torrid and doing like a lot of online stuff for them. I was actually featured, on the Torrid website for one of their things and stuff, and just being very body positive. That's why I started getting into the fashion and, trying to, just be an influencer when it comes to the fashion stuff and all of that entails. And then it also like went into the local bars and clubs and restaurants and, business agencies and everything. I just love to help people, and I love to make people feel good, whether it's men, women, like whatever. So any place that I can help people and spread words about, good food and places and clothes and any of that stuff, then I will do that. And then it branched off to not just here in Corpus, then businesses and restaurants and everything started contacting me from other states and other places. And then that got big, and then the podcasts all came together, and it's just like, it's all this cascading and stuff. And my most recent venture that I am so excited about is I just partnered with Concrete Street Amphitheater to do a ticket giveaway for the Kevin Gates concert coming up at the end of the month. So partnerships like that mean everything, and it's been a journey.
And when I say that if this is someone who stays on the go, Vonnie is the definition of that. I kid you not. For everyone who's listening to the HFWB podcast series and has no idea as far as how active she is, I'm going to tell you like this. It's like 1 minute she's here in town at another local business that she alluded to. Next minute I look up, she's like in California. She's in Utah. She's literally all over the place. And it just starts with just having that love and that passion for people, and to just help to see their businesses thrive, because you understand the importance of just, hey, starting from the bottom and literally making it all the way to the top. And it's like you're trying to lend your helping hand, which you literally don't have to do, but because you love and the people and the business itself so much, you're willing to do that for them. Vonnie, I have to ask you this. Where does the drive and the passion as far as just for people for you come from? Like, what sparks you to do that?
I think okay. So I'm going to go back to being a little girl and growing up in the family that I grew up in.
Okay.
My family, they had a Mexican restaurant here in Corpus for the longest time.
Right.
And I remember being a little girl and being at my aunt's restaurant, watching her work that restaurant was amazing, because she, like, everyone knew her. She talked to everyone. She knew everyone's story. She knew her regular customers, and it was just like the environment was amazing, and she was a boss about it too. And then all my aunts worked in there. My mother worked in there, and it was just a bunch of badass females, just really like making that place just. It was like a well-oiled machine that served great food, great hospitality. They made you feel like family when you were in there. They treated and like they were special. And I loved it. So growing up, that's what I grew up with.
Okay.
I really think that's where a lot of my drive and my passion comes from, is I was able to have that when I was younger and see that. So now that's kind of like what I take with me. And I teach my kids the same thing, with all of that. And it's yeah. And it's a lot. I am in a lot of places and everything. But I also will say I would be nothing without my tribe. I have an amazing tribe that is with me almost every step of the way. My producer and best friend, Abel.
Shout out to Abel Asuna. I mean, I'm glad that you brought him up. He's a wonderful guy without a doubt. I mean, and I was unfortunate to be on the last season. I want to say season 8, maybe, on the Local Influencers podcast, and I feel like I'm fortunate because I feel like I was one of the last people who got interviewed by him, the originator of the Local Influencers, before he decided to step down and pass that on to you, the queen of local influencers. But please, by all means, continue.
Yes, yes. So Abel has been by my side through thick and thin. And he is someone that I couldn't function without. So, and then I have Jacqueline, my best friend Jacqueline. She does a lot of work with me. We're on almost all my trips. She is with me. We do a lot
Yes.
of
I
influence.
love Jacqueline. She's just a shining light within her own right. Definitely full of energy without question. I love Jacqueline. Special shout out to her as well.
And then I have my beautiful co-host and my other best friend, the beautiful Miss Marlene Pineda. She does own All Good Fitness downtown with her brothers. And we're so close. So this tribe, like God, they have really elevated me to be able to be where I'm at. And that's the thing that I want people to understand. Like, sure, you're amazing. You are a boss in your own right. You are, everything. But I don't have one of those kinds of spirits in me to where it's like, I don't care what I have to do to be on top. That's not me. That's like, I don't have that ethic. I'm sorry. If you do, that's great. Great for your drive and all that. For me personally, it's like my tribe means so much to me, and we together accomplish so much.
Yes, y'all do. Yes, y'all do. I remember like whenever we went out that one night, it was to the library bar. I remember just being around that tribe and just feeling the energy and how all of y'all worked as a unit. I was like so blown away by it, actually. And then it was like, I remember Jacqueline whispering into my ear, telling me, like, kind of putting me on like the point A, point B stuff and everything. And then of course, just the way y'all bring people together and y'all just welcome them with open arms. It's just y'all three, you, Jacqueline, and Abel, and of course the lovely Marlene. It's like y'all are now the primary example when it comes to just overall social media influence as far as teamwork makes the dream work. And it's like each of y'all individually, y'all are a movement by yourselves. But when y'all come together as a force, I feel like y'all are unstoppable. And it's a beautiful thing to see as far as just each of y'all and all of y'all together shining a light in y'all's own way, not only just for the city of Corpus Christi, Texas, but anywhere y'all go. And that's exactly what y'all are doing. Y'all are like some rock stars, and it blows me away. I just have to give you and Abel, Jacqueline, and Marlene your flowers here on the HFWB podcast series because it's necessary. And y'all put in the necessary work to deserve it as well. Speaking of all the work that y'all have done, it's like you alluded to all this, the cupcake business. Then you went into the influencing phase, and now we're going into like the podcast phase. It's like pop culture after dark. Bitches Who Brunch. I remember the first time me and Emily, the love of my life, we listened to Bitches Who Brunch. I kid you not. We were blown away by it because we weren't expecting all of that interesting content. And it's literally just uncensored, uncut, raw, unfiltered, straight to the point. And it's like, yes, why can't all podcasts be like this? I gotta hear the backstory of how Pop Culture After Dark came together, how Bitches Who Brunch came together, even the local influencers. I have to hear the backstory for everyone listening on the HFWB podcast series. How did those three powerhouse podcasts that have definitely been Magazine nominated? I just want to throw that out there for those who are not aware of their work. You need to go listen to their podcast. It's some great stuff. But tell me, how did all three of those powerhouse podcasts come together as far as the origin stories?
Well, the origin definitely starts with Abel. So he started the local influencers because he, like himself, loves local talent, local entrepreneurs. He's all for showcasing other people, but he also loves. So he was into podcasts already. He had a podcast about shadow hunters. I don't know if you've heard of that series. It's like a book series, TV series.
Yeah, I've heard of it. My cousin loves that.
Yeah, so he had that podcast and he loved it. But I'm going to go even further. Let me go further back.
Please do.
So back in the MySpace days,
I remember those days.
me and Abel had a blog page on there called "And That's What's Up," and it was just us just giving our opinion on stuff, and that was kind of like unheard of back then.
Yeah.
So really scraped the surface on what we both wanted to do. Now, during that time was when I moved away and he moved also. So we kind of had like a period where we separated, but when I came back and he was doing that one podcast, then he decided he wanted to, do the local influencers. And until recently, he was doing it, but decided to step down and then hand the reins over to me. And I'm very appreciative of that. And that's how, that came to be. Now with Pop Culture After Dark, he approached me on that one. And he was like, I kind of want it to be a little bit like our old blog, just giving our opinions, but let's do some celebrity news and gossip. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm down. So he did all the artwork and everything for it. That was basically his baby. Pop Culture After Dark is basically his baby. And I'm his co-host on there. And we're like TMZ, but better. I think we're better because we're funnier.
Oh, yeah, y'all are hilarious. I'm not even gonna lie.
And it's so good. That podcast took off because we have such a stark contrast on our likes. We are able to. We don't like everything the same. Like we have this ongoing joke because I'm not a big Beyonce fan and he is part of the that. So, we go back and forth.
Oh man.
So it's fun. Now with Bitches Who Brunch, so he came to me and he was like, hey, I have a name for another podcast. And I wanted to, see what you thought. He was like, I want it to be called Bitches Who Brunch. I was like, oh, that's my podcast. That one's mine. That's
This kind of feeds into like my next question to a certain extent. If you had to pick which one, it's kind of obvious though for those who are listening. If you had to pick which one out of the three that you enjoy doing the most, which one would that be?
It's definitely Bitches Who Brunch because that is my baby.
I love it. And when you think of the concept Bitches Who Brunch, for anyone who is listening to, of course, this episode right now and who's never heard of Bitches Who Brunch podcast, what can they expect whenever they listen to it? I already kind of know what to expect, but for those who are listening who is like, Bitches Who's Brunch, I've never heard of that podcast before. What can I expect?
Okay, so with Bitches Who Brunch, it is girl locker room talk. That is the only way I could describe it right off the bat. I know what it is. It is girl locker room talk. It is not suitable for work. Not this like out and definitely not at church while you're waiting for the next sermon or anything. But it is a guilty pleasure. A lot of women, it's their favorite guilty pleasure on the way to work. Men listen to it. They find it informative and it helps them with their partners.
Yes.
When I first made it, I wanted the majority of our audience to be female, but as it turns out, the majority of our audience is actually male. And it's right now it's kind of like they're kind of tied right now, which is good.
Okay.
But I just really wanted to appeal to everyone, because we are just so raw and so unfiltered and so everything goes, anything goes on there. And we talk, of course, we have a lot of nasty talk on there and everything. There's a lot of sexual talk. It's sexually explicit. But we also talk about serious things too. It's not just about sex and everything, because, when girls get together, we don't just talk about sex. We talk about everything. We talk about the things that bother us, anxiety, relationships, cheating, family dynamics, kids, all that stuff. So we've had some pretty good episodes with some serious topics on there and everything. But my first 2 seasons on there, my co-host was my cousin Rita, and she had to step away from the podcast. And that's whenever I got the lovely Miss Marlene. And now Marlene has joined us as she is my permanent co-host now, and will be for the foreseeable future. And it works. It works so good. Me and Marlene we're so alike. So listening to us, it's pretty funny, but we do differ on some other aspects. But Bitches Who Brunch is Dead. It's a guilty pleasure podcast.
And it's all good within that aspect too. And it's funny how I say all good, because for everyone who's listening to this podcast right now and who's listening to this at a later notice, I was literally able to catch Vonnie the moment she came back from the gym, and I'm grateful for the opportunity within that. And it's like, I'm consider myself to be a very, very consistent person when it comes to my overall fitness journey. And it's like, when I see Vonnie in the gym and everything, it kind of motivates me as well, because it's like, I love people who dedicate time to their day as far as just for their overall physical appearance. And you kind of touched on this earlier, because it's like, you're like setting the prime example of, hey, I may look a certain way, but I'm also going to let you know that, hey, you could own what you look like. And at the same time, I'm still going to be willing to put in the work to where I can even make what I own even better. For that woman who's like in that position to where they kind of have like a little insecurity, a little bit of doubt about themselves based off of their physical appearance, what would be 3 key pieces of advice you would tell someone to just motivate them within their own fitness journey to where they can be the best woman that they can be for the overall society, or just for their family, friends, etc.?
I would say, don't ever give up. It does not matter how many day ones you have. You can have a million day ones. The only thing that matters is that you're still trying. And there's going to be points where you are going to want to give up. Like, you're just going to say, like, I don't want to do this today and stuff. But girl, do it. Guy, do it. Also, I will say it is great to have, and I already touched on this, but your tribe. I have an amazing group of people that help me with that motivate me, and stuff. I have people that are like, get your ass up and go lift. And I'm like, oh, you're right.
That accountability is key too. Yes.
So I hopped on this health journey. I had been thinking about it. See, over the years, I had had so many day ones, so many, like I would start and stop and start and stop. I would stop because I would get depressed or about something, and then, or I would get busy. But I found, and saying that you're too busy to work out, you don't have the time. I found that was just myself making an excuse, because there always is time.
Yes, there is
time for what they want to make time for. And you have to want this. You're not going to get on this journey if you don't really want it. Like, it's not going to work out. If you will have a moment where you have like this awakening and you're like, no, I'm going to decide, like, this is the moment. And you'll know that moment. It's almost like a canon moment. And it'll happen. And that'll drive your consistency. And that's great. So for me, it was at the beginning of this year. At the very beginning of this year, I went to the doctor, and she was like, your blood pressure's been a little high for a while. I want to put you on some medicine. And hearing that just made my whole heart sink. Like, I never wanted to be in a position where I had to take medication for the rest of my life. And I was freaking out about it, like, oh my God. the end of the world. And my friends were like, it's an itty bitty little water pill. Calm down. It's the lowest dose. You'll be fine and stuff. But it was just the fact that I was going to have to be on it. So that really got me thinking and stuff, because, you know, I come from a family where heart disease runs in my family, you know, and stuff. So it is very crucial for you to learn your family history as far as like medical stuff and everything, so you know what you're working with. But I will also say too, in my family growing up, exercise was not a thing. The gym was not a thing for women in my family. Did some of the men go? Probably, but I don't ever remember hearing about it. Like fitness, none of that stuff was ever brought up, talked about, or anything. I played sports in high school, and then after that, it was never like gym, whatever. Like, so I did spend a lot of years like not focusing on my fitness at all, or my health for that matter. So at the beginning of the year, I was like, no, I want to do this consistently. Then, you know, in July was when I started a little bit in June, like in May and into June, and then I got hurt. Yeah, we were on our trip and we were in Colorado on Pikes Peak, and I kind of hurt my knee on the mountain. So I had to stop for a little while. So I didn't actually start the consistency or anything with it until July. But from July to now, I've been super consistent. I go to the gym at least 5 days a week. And when I first started, I would spend like an hour and a half in there. Now you got to get me out of the gym. I spend like 3-4 hours in the gym.
I love it. It's like, you got to pull me out of here. I refuse to leave.
Now I have so many people, like in the last week alone, I've had like 4 people call me a gym rat, and it makes me feel so good. I love that title now. And it really put a lot of stuff in perspective for me over the last couple months. I've lost 62 pounds and 12 inches in 6 weeks. So it's been a journey. I feel better. I definitely have more confidence, and I love lifting weights now. Wow. Now I love lifting weights. Like I want to lift more weights and everything. And, you know, people in my life are like, slow down, you know.
Yes, one day at a time, stepping stones. That's usually like what I like to tell all of my personal training clients, is that every day is a stepping stone. We're going into a little bit of uncharted territory. We're going to find out what we can or what we can't do. That way we could turn the things that we can't do into stuff that we can do. It's like, I can, I will, I must, instead of I'm not going to do this, or I'm afraid to do this, or stuff like that. What is your favorite overall workout? Like, as far as just, what is your favorite body part to work out the most?
This booty. My booty.
There's nothing wrong with that, Vonnie, because you're catering to the largest muscle that's in your body. So there is nothing wrong with that. It's like a friend of mine once told me, you always have to keep your hips, your core, and your glutes as strong as possibly can be, because although those three things alone, it feeds into overall just your posture, just how your whole entire body is stabilized, and how you're able to just rotate side to side, basic stuff like that. So you're already on the right track as far as focusing on that booty, Vonnie. So don't be mad. For everybody who's listening to the HFWB podcast series, especially you women, have no shame in working on your booty while in the gym. No. Vonnie will be the first to tell you that. I kid you not. If you go on her social media, every other day she's posting a workout about glutes, and there is nothing wrong with that. That's the largest muscle in your body. So treasure that and appreciate that.
And it's not just, okay, so glutes is my favorite thing to work out. And then it's back. And let me tell you why it's my back. Because a lot of women don't know that. I didn't know this when I started working out. But if you want to snatch your waist and get that hourglass figure, you have to work your back.
Yes.
Exercises, back workouts are so crucial to that. And my back, my waist is actually where I lost the most amount of inches. I lost 4 inches in 6 weeks on my waist, because I do a lot of glutes and back and legs. Right now I'm coming off some shoulder injuries. So doing that
a little easy there.
a little like taking that easy, but everything else, I hit it good. I just did glutes today, and some of my favorite workouts for glutes are going to be good mornings, even though I'm putting them out the whole time. I still love doing them. And hip thrusts. I love some hip thrusts. Now, when I do hip thrusts, I do the 3 all in the same set. So I do the regular hip thrusts, some cast glute bridges, and then some glute holds at the top. And believe me, you're just dying after you get done with your set.
Yes, you will. Them hip thrusts will kill you. I don't care how strong you are. Them hip thrusts will creep up on you within the second and third set without question. I can definitely relate.
And B stance RDLs are probably another one of my absolute favorites. Now, the dreaded Bulgarian split squats, I hate those. Do them, but I hate them. But
it's a discipline thing. It's a discipline thing. It's like when it comes to the overall gym, you got to have self-discipline. There's going to be workouts that you hate doing, but you got to do it like you love to do it. And then who knows, you might actually develop like a passion for it. Like, man, I'm looking forward to those Bulgarian split squats. I'm looking forward to those hip thrusts, squats, bench press, overhead press. I can go on and on and on. It's like, it just comes down to discipline. It really does. And you notice, and you're executing it very, very well. I mean, like I said, I'm blown away by your overall fitness journey to the point where it's like, when I see other people like really putting in that time and that effort, it motivates me, even though I already do it on a consistent basis. It always motivates me to go even harder because there's always room for improvement. And that's kind of like the message I want to leave within this episode. There's always room for improvement. Look at the position where I'm in. Look at the position the lovely Vonnie's in. If we can do it, so can you. But with that being said, Vonnie, we're actually at the point where I'm going to ask you a list of questions on my podcast, which I ask everybody, of course, as far as just to pick your brain and give people, of course, a side of you and that, of course, they may not know, because you and I both know you are the most open book ever. So this will be very, very interesting. With that being said, my first question is, what is the first thing you do or think of every single day that you wake up?
Well, it's a person, and I'm going to leave it at that. That like as soon as I wake up, that person is on my mind. And then after that, of course, it's like, what am I going to do today at the gym?
I love it. I love the honesty and the straightforwardness within that. That's what it's all about here on the HFWB podcast series. And speaking of that, my next question is, here, of course, within health, fitness, wealth business, I'm truly a believer of health is wealth. When you take the two words health and wealth, what are your personal definition of those two words exactly, in your eyes, of course?
Well, for health, it's when I think of health, I think of just the journey that I'm on and why I'm doing it, the longevity for myself, because I want to be here for a very long time, not just for myself, but for my kids and for, the people that I love. And just health is just like, it's life. It reminds me of like energy, life force, nature, like just all of that, like, because it's just we are all bundles of energy, when we're connected to everything. So you can't go out and do amazing and great things if you don't have your health good, if you don't have your body right, like all of that stuff. That goes to like self-love. If you don't have that self-love, how can people love you? You have to have that for yourself first, Yeah,
you're right.
And when it comes to wealth, and it's funny, like with wealth, I don't automatically think of monetary gains or anything like that. When I think of wealth, I think of love. And I know that probably sounds really, really cheesy.
No, it doesn't. Please elaborate, because I agree with you already 100%. But for those who don't understand, please elaborate on that.
So for me, wealth is an abundance of love. Are you loved? Do you give love? Do you have love for life, love for what you do? That's wealthy to me, being able to say you have a tribe and you have these things that you're passionate about and that you're doing them, and it's not just a forced job every day that you get up to and you hate your life. And this is money great? Yes. Does money bring happiness? Absolutely. Tell me someone that has money and is not happy about spending it. Now, is money all the happiness? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You have to be wealthy in love with your partner, with your kids, look for just everything around you. Everything around you. So that's, for me, that's being wealthy. And I am a billionaire when it comes to that kind of wealth.
I love how you just elaborated on the concept of love, because what you just elaborated on, Vonnie, is you start from the heart. You're going back to the source, just that inner child that we all have within us. Because when you tap into that, you literally have the answer to just everything, not within this earth, within this universe. It's all within your heart, because that's the first thing that really gives us a sign of life. And as you know, whenever, of course, women are pregnant and they're at the doctor and they have the little mammogram rubbing on their stomach, they're searching for what? That heartbeat. And that's where it all starts. It's like that heartbeat forms, then everything else forms around it. And it's like you're basically telling everybody, don't be afraid to be worthy of love. Don't be afraid to be open to giving and receiving love. And most importantly, don't be afraid to tell yourself, I love myself unconditionally. Because when you love yourself, people are going to appreciate you and respect you a whole lot more, to where it's like, wow, this person is really not afraid to love himself. And it's like they gravitate towards you in a way. It's like a magnetic effect. It's very, very powerful. It really is. And it's crazy how just 4 letters, LOVE, can be so, so powerful.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I have to ask you this, because I feel like this pretty much defines who you are to a certain extent. When you think of the word influence, good or bad, how important is that to you? And what is your best description of the word influence to you?
Well, the best way that I can describe it is something that hits really home to my heart, and it's part of my ancestry. Um, it's guiding. So just growing up and stuff like that, people have always told me I'm a guide. My uncles told me I'm a guide, and this goes over into our Native American beliefs and stuff like that. I'm a guide for people. I help them, whether it's spiritually or any kind of into the influencing side and everything, just guiding people. To whether it's even if it's just for restaurant recommendations or anything like that, it's just you're just there. They know they can go to you. You're a person of integrity. And that's the main thing for me, especially when it comes to the influencing, is integrity. And my business integrity is key. It's everything. And just case in point, I was offered a job in a different city working with and the downtown areas of that city. And there were some key points that were missed in the contract that would question integrity. So I absolutely turned down the contract, because I will not have that. Because when people say oh, she recommends this, I want them to know it is completely an unbiased opinion. I am not just saying that because I'm getting paid for it or anything, or it's endorsed or anything like that. I want to guide you to what is going to be best for you or what you would like. So whether it's anything, it could be books, it could be spirituality, it could be anything, food, anything.
I love it.
Is guiding.
Yes, I love the fact that you're being a guide, because you're giving people a sense of direction of, hey, you need to try this out. I mean, there's a reason why it's good. I wouldn't be going out of my way to tell you, hey, try this out, if it didn't mean anything. So I love that you're doing that, because you're putting myself, everyone who's listening to the HFWB podcast series, and everyone around you, you're putting them on game as far as, hey, this is the place to be. Y'all need to go check it out for sure. And it definitely has my attention, and I guarantee you, for everyone listening to this episode, it's going to have their attention as well. But we're going to do a little bit of either or, Vonnie, where I'm going to pick your brain even more as far as seeing which one you would choose, because this is going to be interesting for sure.
I love either.
The first one is this. Would you rather live in space or live in the ocean?
The ocean.
Would you rather be famous and poor or anonymous and rich?
Ooh, anonymous and rich.
I know this because you travel a lot. Would you rather have unlimited free meals at your favorite restaurant or unlimited first class tickets?
First class tickets, baby. Give me that flight.
Would you rather live in a mansion but can't leave or live in a shack but be able to go anywhere you want?
Give me the shack.
Got you, got you. Here's a good one. Would you rather dance to every song or sing to every song?
This one's hard.
Yeah.
But
It's a tough one because it just depends on how you're feeling. You might do a little bit of both. You might sing and dance at the same time. But if you had to pick which one, what would you rather do?
Probably,
I have to put you on the spot.
probably be sing. I'd probably sing.
Now, picture this scenario, Vonnie. If you were on a deserted island with nowhere to go, and if you had the opportunity to listen to 5 artists, it doesn't matter the genre, but you have their whole entire catalog to listen to, who would they be?
Oh my God, you went there.
Yes, I did. Yes,
Okay.
I did.
Nikki Eaton. Nikki Eaton is probably one of my favorite artists, and if you haven't heard her music, definitely check it out. Some of her songs are Finally, Starting Over, and Bad Intentions. So she's one. It would be whoever sings You Proof, Morgan Wallen. I think that's the guy, Morgan Wallen.
Right, that's 2.
Oh my goodness, this is so hard. Let's see who else. The Weeknd. I love The Weeknd.
3.
Oh good. Bruno Mars. I love me some Bruno Mars.
4.
Oh Lord. Chevelle.
Okay, that is a very versatile playlist that will definitely get somebody's attention if they were just out in the sea somewhere and they passed this island and they heard this music. Like, what's going on over there? They probably would go over there and go have a party with you. I'll be completely honest. That's a very versatile music playlist, I should say. That's not bad actually. And if you haven't figured it out by now, as far as for everyone who's listening to this podcast episode, Vonnie is literally on the go. Like, even when she's not on the go, she'll post pictures on social media to make it look like she's on the go. That's how consistent she is with her traveling. It's like she got the travel bug. She's been bitten by it numerous of times, I could tell you that, which leads to me asking you this. Where's the favorite place that you visited already? And where's a place you haven't been to before that you would like to visit?
Oh, okay. Well, one of my absolute favorite places that I got to visit was Colorado. Oh no, Colorado Springs. Sorry. It's in Utah, and Salt Lake City. So I did not think it was going to be what it was, but oh my God, it was amazing. It was so beautiful. And the people there were so awesome. Like the food was great. I had some of the best tacos there. Best Mexican tacos there.
Wow. Okay.
Definitely, one of my favorite. Right off the bat, though, I just want to say I wanted to say El Paso, but that is for very biased reasons. That again, I will not get into.
I got you.
But Salt Lake City was just completely just breathtaking, and it was out of left field that I was like, wow, I really love this place.
Okay.
Let me see. And a place that I haven't been to yet that I would want to. Is that what you said?
Yes, a place that you haven't visited yet that you would like to visit. Yes.
I would like to go to Scotland. I would love to go to Scotland, like just that whole area, Ireland, Scotland, just
okay.
For some reasons I'm into like Celtic stuff and everything, and it's so beautiful over there. I heard that it's so green, and that you are like, your eyes can't comprehend it because you're not used to, here in the States, we're not used to seeing that kind of green.
I
So
got you.
that's,
Interesting. Okay. That's not a bad idea as far as Scotland and Ireland. I didn't even think about that, but now I might have to even look into that a little bit myself. You're one of the busiest people that I know, Vonnie. I'm just gonna throw that out there. You're literally one of the most busiest people that I know. But whenever you're not doing all the things that you're doing on a regular basis, which I know is super, super rare, what are some of your personal favorite hobbies that you like to do that most people may not know you like to do?
um, one of my favorite things that I like to do is I like to go outside and just like in my front lawn, whatever. I like being in my front yard more than my backyard. I like to just sit in my driveway, and sometimes I'll be on my car or just sitting on the pavement. And
Mhm.
especially at night, because I love to stargaze. I am a lover of the stars, and I like to feel the wind on my face and stuff. And I will write. I love writing, so I write poetry and short stories and stuff like that. And that's one of my favorite pastimes. I'll have some music on at the same time, and I'm just in a vibe all by myself.
Can we maybe see a poetry or a short story coming in maybe soon? I mean, if that's what you like to do, I can honestly see you doing that. A short story, poetry in motion by Vonnie Smiles, something that will make you smile. I
Well,
don't know.
I, I am kind of, and I've started it, like writing a book. So, and it's funny because it's not going to be like a book like in the normal sense. It's basically just going to be a collection of writings, poetry, quotes,
Got you.
just days like where just I start, just writing. So it'll be like a little look into my life, a little bit, just about some heartbreak, some love, some finding myself, um, and just random silly thoughts, that I have in my head and everything. So it's just, and there's going to be, everyone's asking, oh, so you're going to have like chapters and this, and I'm like, no, there's really not going to be no flow. It's going to be chaos personified in this book.
I could already see it. And you see what we just did there? We just pulled out an exclusive here on the HFWB podcast series. That is exactly what we do. Now we all know the lovely Vonnie is going to be putting together a nice little collection of books coming out very, very soon. We don't know when, but it's coming soon to a place near you. And she may have it with her everywhere she goes as well. But with that being said, my last question for you is going to be a good one. If you had the opportunity to go back in time, right, and talk to yourself 10 years ago, so to speak, what would you tell yourself? And at the same time, where do you see yourself in everything that you're doing as far as being on some entrepreneur, bossy shit? Where you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Okay. So to my past, like 10 years ago, me would tell her, don't worry, Queen, you're just getting started. And not
Okay.
worry, like, but that she's going to have to go through what she's going to go through, and that she's strong enough and she'll come out of it. Now to it, like in 10 years from now, I see myself, um, it's funny because I see myself, of course, still like doing the influencing and stuff, but not so much me. I see myself having a business with my tribe, and it is just going to be a multimedia business. And we are just going to pretty much become just, when you think of marketing and influencing and Corpus Christi, you're going to think of us. That's where I see us in 10 years. And as far as me personally, of course, I see myself happy and in love, and pretty much just living the life that 10 years ago me started dreaming about.
Well said, and well said. And with that being said, for everyone who wants to get a hold of you, get a hold of how they can like follow you on social media, because you're all over the place on social media, or just where can they check out all of your content? This is the time to push all the stuff that you have coming out. So let them know, Vonnie. The floor is yours.
So you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Vonnie Smiles. You can also follow all of the podcasts on there. So it'll be at BS Who Brunch Podcast, at The Local Influencers, and at Pop Culture After Dark. You can also find me on Facebook, Yvonne Ascension on there. My email is going to be on my Instagram. You can also find me on TikTok, by the way. I do get down on TikTok. Some funny content on there. But pretty much I am an open book. As far as my cupcake business goes, I do have an Instagram for my cupcake business as well. That's Vonnie's Cuppy Cakes. As a matter of fact, right after we get off of this, I'm going to go decorate a cake for two of my really good friends for their birthday today. So I am always on the go. Also, my phone number is also attached to a lot of that. So like Clifton said, I am an open book. There's always a way to get a hold of me if you'd like, but definitely follow the socials. I do giveaways quite often. Like I said, I am in the middle of a giveaway right now with Concrete Street. So go like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Oh, also catch us on YouTube if you'd like to see the episodes of the podcast. All of our YouTubes are just like our podcast names, and you can check out all of our podcasts on all of your favorite podcasting platforms like Google, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
You see what I mean, y'all? I mean, literally all over the place, and I love it because it encourages me to do the exact same thing. With that being said, I want to end it on this note as far as just don't be afraid to go out and get what's yours, because at the end of the day, what's yours is yours. And once it's yours, you're pretty much on the go right then and there. With that being said, Vonnie, thank you. Thank you so much for finally taking time out of your busy schedule to simply bless us with your appearance on the HFWB podcast series. I'm truly honored. Really, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate this opportunity. I also want to leave your listeners with one thing. Don't ever let anything hold you back from what you want to do. You are never too old or too young to start a business or to start what your life's purpose is. Me, myself, personally, I am 44 years old. And like I said earlier, I am just getting started. So do not let nothing hold you back.
And I figured I'd add on to that by just saying, hey, they say 40 is the new 30. That is true. But at the same time, 30 is the new 20. That makes things very, very interesting. With that being said, thank you, Vonnie, for taking time out of your busy day once again to be on the HFWB podcast series. For those who are listening, this is yours truly, Clifton Pope. I encourage everybody to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, y'all, peace and love.
Bye.